And now we're going to hear from Resqunit. And this is a very interesting technology with Helge Olsen. And he's coming from Norway, so obviously not here with us in the studio, but we'll now be zooming in with him.
Yes, my name is Helge Olsen, and I am the CEO and one of the co-founders in Resqunit. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be able to present our company to you today on your platform and to your audience. So let's jump right into it. Resqunit is now organized with a Swedish holding company listed on the Nasdaq First North. The Swedish holding company owns 100% of the Norwegian operational company. And below the Norwegian is two companies. We have a Canadian sales office right in the epicenter of the big fisheries in Canada. And we have Global Ocean Data, a company that we acquired last year that are handling the research and development for us. First of all, let me describe the situation and the problems that motivated us to embark on this journey with this company. It is widely recognized that fishermen lose around 10% of their fishing gear every year. So globally, this amounts to 640,000 tons of fishing gear that is lost at sea every year. This creates enormous economic and ecological problems. The fishing industry loses valuable equipment, and 70% of all microplastic pollution comes from fishing gear. Fishing equipment is designed to catch and kill. And even when it's lost, it continues to do just that. Animals are trapped, and when they starve to death, they become bait for the next animals, and so on. Billions of dollars of high-quality food is wasted to ghost fishing every year. We see reduction in quotas as a direct result of this. Also, searching for fertile fishing grounds is very time-consuming and costly. The fishing industry consumes annually more than 40 billion liters of fuel and emits 180 million tons of CO2. Our products are targeted directly towards solving these issues. We have our Resqunit backup buoy that you see on the picture here. This is a device that is easy to install on passive fishing gear like lobster traps and crab pots. And when you lose the gear, this yellow recognizable buoy deploys and goes to the surface at the same time as it opens up an escape hatch for the animals that are caught inside. And with the buoy floating on the surface, you can now find and retrieve your lost fishing gear. Our Resqunit catch forecast system that is currently under development is combining widely spread experience-based data with atmospheric conditions and already available ocean data. Through analysis, we've estimated an increase in catch per unit effort of around 3%. By gathering and offering these data to fishermen through software services, giving the fishermen information on where to fish and when to fish. By using fishing gear as a vessel for our own data sensor, the Aquarius X, collecting localized fresh data samples of temperature, salinity, and dissolved oxygen, we aim to increase the catch per unit effort by as much as 15%. And the term catch per unit effort is a term used in the fishing industry where you see the amount of catch you get for the amount of resources spent. Our hardware products mitigating fishing gear loss are aimed at crustacean and demersal fisheries all over the world. So this is crab, lobster, cod, and other bottom-feeding fish, both in the commercial and recreational markets. There are 220 million fishermen in the world and more than 2 million registered commercial fishing vessels. As more pelagic fish like salmon and others are now being farmed, crustacean fisheries like lobster, crab, shrimps, etc. is by far the most growing wild fishery in the world, and the prices are skyrocketing. When demands are high like now and access is low, more resources are spent trying to meet the demand. As you can see on the graph, the crustacean fisheries accounts for almost all the projected increase in CO2 emissions in the fishing industry this decade. Our software and data business is primarily targeting the fishing industry with our catch forecast system software. Increasingly, there are higher demand for ocean data that we can provide from our data hub for clients like climate research organizations, weather forecast services, fish farming industry, oil and gas, offshore wind, and many more. With the estimated 15% in catch per unit effort, we can reduce the emissions in the fishing industry with as much as 20 million tons of CO2 annually. We can help significantly reduce plastic pollution in the oceans, and we can help preserve billions of dollars worth of biomass that is now being wasted to ghost fishing. As a first mover, we stand the chance to establish our brand in the fishing industry as the preferred fishing gear security system provider. We see an emerging industry in the coming decades around ocean data. We want to make sure that Resqunit is positioned to become one of the leading collectors and providers in this area. And we see this happening both through organic growth and by acquisition. With millions of sensors attached to fishing gear all over the world, collecting fresh ocean data, Resqunit will offer a wide range of service as a software solutions, ocean data analysis, and subscription services. Annual recurring revenue is estimated at around $35 million from 1 million sensors. Just for comparison, there are 3.5 million lobster traps in the Atlantic Canada seaboard alone. Our market approach is divided into different verticals. Our base hardware products will be sold mainly through two channels, either through distribution wholesalers or through fishing gear manufacturers for pre-installed security systems. Retailing low-cost, low-tech functional products is an important part of our branding strategy and as a base for technology and software add-on. Software, data analysis, and subscription services will be offered directly to the end users or by software integration and is vastly scalable. There are several different factors that make Resqunit unique from a marketing perspective. Our operational company is located in Norway, perhaps the world's highest regarded country for innovations in the fishing industry. With our obvious environmental impact, we have easy access to presence and awareness through media and governments. We have entered into strategic partnerships with environmental organizations globally promoting our solutions. And we have the world's most famous fisherman, Sig Hansen, as a dedicated shareholder and ambassador. And we're now going to play a short movie.
When we talk about data, there's a lot of influential instruments for weather, for example, that we use now, and it's getting better and better all the time. As far as data for the ocean and the surveys, it's really not a lot out there, and that's the problem. You know, a lot of times when you're fishing, I always say, go by your gut.
They say that man knows more about the surface of Mars than our oceans. The lack of ocean knowledge is huge, not just in the fisheries, but everywhere. The sensor we are developing might not just improve the accuracy of fisheries, but we can learn a lot about the environment and sustainability in general. Today, we have advanced measuring stations that are really expensive. This means that there are very few of these measuring points. We've reduced the size so it can fit in a small pot. At the same time, it's a cheap investment. This gives us a better understanding of what's happening in the sea. We've made 2 prototypes. We're testing one of them in the well here at Ålgård. The well is 600 meters, so it's easy to measure what's happening in the well. We see how the sensors work, not to mention the pressure. Imagine 1 million sensors on fishing equipment all over the world. They are on the ocean on a daily basis. These data sets are globally unique.
So you're also going to be able to have that data on board, and you'll be able to take depths, salinity in the water. You'll be able to take currents, temperatures, and all of that's important because When you can have that information and that knowledge, and you take it from all the corners of the globe, now you're getting the kind of data that's going to help you fish faster. And faster fishing is good. Why? Rule number one, you don't want to be on the water more than you have to. Every time you're on the water, another day, it's costing you more fuel, it's more expenses, right? And so we want to try to keep the boats out as little as possible. And it's good for our overhead, it's good for the environment, because one extra day can cost you 10. Now there's a storm coming in and you're stuck. We're not talking about just economy, we're talking about lives. You'll be able to track and see where all these crab have been or whatever you're fishing for. And that's important. Not only that, but when you talk about NOAA and some of these weather stations, all of that information is going to be gathered. And they use that. So you'll be able to work with them, and all of it works together.
The UN has declared this the decade of the ocean. Resqunit is going to contribute with Norwegian innovation. The sensors make all this possible, so we can increase the sustainability in fisheries.
So, Sig Hansen is the captain of the Northwestern and has been on Discovery Channel's reality TV show Deadliest Catch through 18 seasons now. He has become a leading figure in the fishing industry with more than 50 million followers in 150 countries. Sig Hansen has also been a participant on The Apprentice with Donald Trump and has been a voice actor in the movie Cars. As I said in the video, the United Nations has declared this the Ocean Decade. Decade of Ocean Science and Sustainable Development brings together scientists, governments, businesses, philanthropists, and NGOs to unlock the science we need for the future we want. Ocean data plays a central role in bringing knowledge to how to grow and preserve the ocean economy, an economy that more than 3 billion people depend on. All of what we do here at Resqunit is in line with our dedication to help improve the fishing industry in a sustainable way. Fishing is one of the most regulated industries in the world, and regulations are tightening at a rapid pace. Through our activities in Scandinavia, in Canada, USA, the Caribbean, and Australia, we are seeing the same thing all over. Governments think that fishermen are doing too little, and fishermen think that the governments are doing too much. Our product is a simple and easy solution, and it has a huge impact. All over the world, fishermen are now experiencing lower fishing quotas, but higher demand and higher prices. This situation cannot be managed intelligently with the current knowledge and access to data. For governments to be able to regulate and preserve the ocean resources, the decisions need to be based on actual real-world data. All of our products are perfectly lined up with regulatory trends and the need for more knowledge. The company is in dialogue with fishery authorities in many regions and nations, where we propose to make security systems on passive fishing gear mandatory. So that was my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Helge. I would, before we let you go, a couple quick questions. So we can find the position or the equities on the First North growth market. That's correct?
Yeah, that's right. On the ticker RESQ.
Okay, great. Resqunit. I love the name. It's fantastic. And then the next thing is, if it's on the growth market and we have all these strategies in place to help preserve our oceans and save our oceans, why is it time, aside from that, to invest in Resqunit now? What makes it critical at this time?
We listed the company at an early stage. We founded the company only 3-4 years ago, 2017. I think the timing is perfect now, because the last 2 years we did heavy research and development processes, and we now have the lineup of the products, and we are moving fast now, establishing a distributor network all around the world, making agreements with distributors and starting our sales right now.
Okay.
And also, as I mentioned, the regulations are tightening. Governments are looking at the fishermen. They are expecting them to do something to preserve and to act sustainable.
Okay. Okay. So obviously global reach, that's good. And then global consideration, working with the different governments. That's very good. But where would you see yourself then in 5 years when you're working with all these different parties?
Of course, now when we start out, we have a lot of focus, of course, in the market towards the fishermen. But as I said, we have a goal of having placed 1 million sensors in the ocean in a big part of the world within 5 years. And this puts us in a position where we are not just applying products and value to the fishermen, but now we have a huge database of fresh ocean data for climate research, for governments all over the world. And this is where I think the main revenue from the company is going to come from 5 years from now.
Okay, so not just on the capture and preservation of the assets, but actually helping in the scientific monitoring of the situation. So
Exactly.
They can actually use these systems. And then just out of curiosity, I mean, you already mentioned the UN and you've mentioned NOAA. Are there any other large organizations like that you're working with?
We have you have weather stations, for example. They provide weather services not just for us on TV, but they also provide services for the oil industry, for example, and the fish farming industry. And it's a growing business for weather companies as well.
Okay, so that's fantastic. So it's really complementary, and you offer some symbiosis with other industries and efficiency improvements for them as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, very good. But is there anything else you wanted to add that maybe that we've missed? Anything to put on the hook, so to speak?
Just that I appreciate the opportunity to be here and speak to your audience. And yeah, I hope you'll check us out, take a look at our website and our information, and don't hesitate to reach out if anyone has any questions.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Trettø. The website, obviously, we have that linked, and we'll be able to find more information.